We don't want, our trained prosecutor's office does not want to take him on in a jury trial because we're going to lose, right? Or it'll be too expensive, whatever. But if it would have, anyway, I don't want to go off to all these sidetracks because I could just go on and on and on and just get boring and boring on into the minutia. So I will try to keep it on track here, but basically, so what they did instead was, okay, fine. They, out of the goodness of their hearts, they refiled the charges. Instead of a year and $3,000 threat, they lowered it to a 30-day threat and a $1,000 fine, which I believe is a petty misdemeanor. It's just like a speeding ticket. Okay, and they did that out of the kindness of their hearts, right? Well, actually, they just took away the jury trial. So they offered me a plea deal of a $150 fine and like, oh, plead guilty and you'll get whatever it was. I don't know, drug treatment for 6 months, call in, piss test, whatever. And I said, no, F you guys, no, please. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not going to guilty plea. Then they come, and I'm telling my lawyer this, Demir. What does he do? Ignores me. Still comes back with, oh, now they give you a plea offer of 0 fine, 0 jail, and 0 guilt. And I'm telling Demir from the jump. I've told him from the jump. Before he knew what I was capable of doing, he actually, you know, kind of treated me like I was a typical client, and like I showed up 5-10 minutes late, and he's like, you know, you should take this more seriously. And I'm just sitting there laughing. I literally laughed in his face when he said that to me. I didn't even answer him with a word. I didn't dignify his disrespect with a response other than to laugh at him, like as if he could talk down to me like that. You know, here's this punk, this lawyer, this lesser man in every way, thinks he can talk down to me because I'm late for 5. I've had more responsibility putting my pinky finger than that man will ever have his entire life. And he's trying to take it out on me with an attitude? The fuck out of here. So this one's for Demir. I mean, I knew this was coming. He's a lawyer who doesn't help me at all, and he's probably taking the money from the state because he gets $90 an hour and up to $3,500 for this, and I think another $5 grand for the appeal. And I was just having him along for reasons I can't say because, again, strategy and tactics, and I don't want my opposition to hear this. So, mwah, Demir. Freaking don't show up to my hearing, and now the judge means I have to extension because you're not there? Now this relationship's over. How about that? Alright, so I haven't got any help from him. Once they pulled me out of the circuit court, now they've just been putting me back with Takasi in the district court. And of course that's when I've started doing the, hey, do I get a fair and meaningful hearing? Hey, is there a presumption of innocence? You know, hey, can I be informed of the cause and nature of the charges and proceedings against me? You know, things like this. Then you just shut down. Oh, run off the bench, run off the bench, run off the bench. You know, I see their BS, and you know, my hearings. If somebody wants to buy, I'll go to. Anybody can go to my courthouse. I'll give you permission. Go to the courthouse and order every single one of my videos. They're like $25 each. I mean, go for it. There's some I haven't even posted of me to find. Oh Jesus, the one I should go get the one from January 4th. Me in court on January 4th in cuffs after my arrest for free speech. I ripped into that court, and there was a huge crowd, and they all saw it, and they were, oh man, it was good. And then the other one, there was one I think back in December where there was a huge crowd outside, and there was like 24 people. We were talking for an hour and a half because of what had happened in the courtroom. And there was some spooky goon, some really tall, old-looking dude who was just filming us. And when we asked him what we were doing, he says, oh, I'm just an observer. He was from the government, some agency doing something. And here's the creepiest fuck thing. That guy was in my courtroom again today. He showed up in a white suit. Alright? These people don't think I notice who's watching. I fucking notice. My physical safety's on the line, and it's a small courtroom. He showed up for my hearing, and he bounced after my hearing. My hearing was the last one because the judge bounced, and they kept it to the last one of the day. The afternoon schedule, alright? So it's just weird, fucking creepy as shit. I can't do much of it because after they, you know, I mean, I'm just now am I starting to, you know, I started 2 businesses and financially getting things back where they were, but when somebody raids your house and they take all kind of plans and everything, and you can't say actually what more they took if they took it, right? Because the cops are crooked as hell here. The drug war is nothing but an excuse for asset forfeiture straight up. They fuck with who they want to fuck with. They never raid Hawaiians and they never raid Japanese, but they raid everybody else, especially if they look like they got money. and they'll scrabble with the Department of Health. They've got insiders on the Department of Health to skew people's records, and when it comes in, so they can say, oh, no, say that guy doesn't have it on time. Yeah, let's make it so that guy's records are wrong. He didn't send it in right, did he? No, throw this away, cross that wrong. Oh, yeah, now we can go in. And let him figure it out later. I've had that happen to my buddy. They used his axe. They broke into his own safe and stole $20,000 in cash and 67 some odd plants. 67 pounds? I'm sorry, 67 pounds of bud. I got an offer of 0 fine, 0 jail, 0 community service, and they were going to offer me no drug upkeep whatsoever. My only punishment would be to call in once a week for 3 months as a babysitting chair to supervise release and plead guilty, of course. They want that bended knee. The really thing they wanted is for me to sign something that said, I am guilty and you do have jurisdiction after all. That's really what they want. But of course I can't do that, which is why I turned it down. 0 fine, 0 jail, 0 community service, go fuck yourself. And I told Demir that too, and he wouldn't listen to me. I finally told him, just don't even come with me, don't even come at me with these anymore ever again, or I'm just going to laugh at you. Just tell them no. They can't make it any less anyway. They really couldn't. What are they going to do? 2 months of phone calls instead of 3 months? You know what I mean? So they just wanted that bended knee. So ever since then, it's just been going back and forth. Well, I've embarrassed Friedis big time. I didn't embarrass Judge Hara because he was actually civil to me. I've embarrassed Takasi, obviously. So now they give me Vandegar. And Judge Vandegar, what does she do? Not act like a brand new judge, as you'll see. She's obviously knows my case. She's obviously looking to just get an extension. She's obviously familiar and looking to screw me over. There's nothing fair and impartial about it. There's no presumption of innocence. There's no respect for human dignity. There's no respect for due process. There's no respect for an informed pleas. There's no respect for being able to enter a verbal motion. They make it so you always have to do written ones so that you can write something down so they can shoot it down so that they have a legitimate reason to deny you instead of they won't have a legitimate reason to do it on the record verbally. Why? Because they can't think this fast. They can't speak this fast. They can't work on the fly this fast. And this is why I kick their ass in the courtroom, because I can, and I talk this fast, and that's slower than I can think. Alright. So I was due in court for this case, if you can call it that, which you can't, right? Because of the prosecutor's failure to prosecute. It doesn't qualify as a case, right? I was scheduled to go on March 17th, or excuse me, 14th, but I ghosted it. For a reason I won't say. And turned out the paperwork so that they wouldn't, you know, go ahead with the bench warrant, and they didn't, and then they rescheduled me for April 11th, and here I was. And I have no idea what this was going to be, other than it wasn't going to be a trial. They tried to get me a trial first place. I threatened a lawsuit, and they backed off of that, so that video's on my channel too. All they do is call them pretrial conferences, or pretrial hearings, rather. Pretrial hearings, and there's no purpose other than the judge to just run off the bench, find the closest excuse to run off the bench. Last time Takasi, I asked to go to the bathroom, and she used that to run off the bench, even though I said, okay, fine, I won't go, let's do this right now. She ran off the bench. I asked Judge Friedis, hey, can I have a fair and meaningful hearing? No. Can I have a fair hearing? No. Can I have a meaningful hearing? No. Can I have a fair and meaningful hearing, please? Not a fair and impartial blah, blah, blah. No, and he ran off the bench. That's all these judges have done the last 5 or 6 times is just run off the bench. That's all they can do for me. They can't do another damn thing. Let's start with the recording. This recording audio quality is pretty poor. Sorry. Hopefully it'll get, you'll be able to hear it. I'm going to repeat what's key so that you won't have a hard time listening. The whole thing was only about 6 minutes and 44 seconds long. I've already taken 28 minutes to tell the story. Let's see how long the rest of this goes. Starting now.
No.
Oh, she just asked me, are you, and said my first and last name, legal name, and this was my answer. No, followed by.
I don't go by that name, but that's the name that the court labels me, so I acknowledge that.
I don't go by that name, but that's the name that the court labels me, so how's that? It's just, I'm not that name, but you're threatening me, so I don't rely on voodoo ceremony words to get me out of scrapes with these gang members. I can do it with logic, ethics, actual reality by pointing to the evidence of jurisdiction. So I pick my battles, and that is a battle, but it's not one I'm really willing to pick a whole lot. It just I know that they're not going to give you a whole lot of time, and I'm not going to spend that valuable time on the name game. It's totally valid and legit. I'm not shooting it down. It's totally true. They can't do this by your name. It is totally a fraud. It is. I just don't rely on words. Words like oh, you got to dismiss because you don't have the right name. No, you got to dismiss because you don't have any evidence that you have jurisdiction to even rule over me. We are equals, and you are not my superior, period.
So, Mr. Pierce, where is Demir Kuliev?
She says, so Mr. Pierce, where is Demir Kuliev, the lawyer? And my response is,
That's a good question.
that's a good question.
The court understands that Judge Takashi has appointed Mr. Kuliev as standby counsel.
She says the court understands that Judge Takashi has appointed Mr. Kuliev as standby counsel. Okay.
So I'm not willing to go forward with the hearing unless Mr. Kuliev is.
So she makes up this bullshit excuse to not go forward with the hearing, Judge Van de Gar, or whatever the hell your name is. I'm going to learn it. Okay? So she's going on full blast, dude. Just listen. It's good.
I'm more than willing to go forward with it because...
I'm sure you are, sir, but I'm not.
So she tried that crap. I said, I don't need it. I'm more than willing to go forward with it. She's like, I'm sure you are, sir, but I'm not. I should have said, well, you know, it's not your hearing, Judge. It's my hearing. Okay? Of course, she's got boxes to check. Oh, no, I can't let you go ahead unless we've satisfied you. This is what they say. Here's the hustle, okay? Here's the hustle. Here's another little hustle inside the hustle. They want you to either accept their help, their defenders, as in, or you can go hire your own private. Keep in mind, any public or private lawyer, it's all the same. They all would never argue the jurisdictional issue or they'll be disbarred. That's like, you know, a bishop going against the religion. You get kicked out. Okay? They never do. The second I mentioned it, the hearing where Demir Kuliev smelled it coming, he smelled it coming, probably because he's watching my YouTube or whatever. He asked me before the hearing, he's like, hey man, so tell me, what's your plan? What are you going to do? I mean, in so many words. That's not a quote, but in so many words. And I was kind of giggling at myself, like, he wants to know what I'm doing. He's worried. And of course, I didn't tell him. And I just told him, I go, I don't think that's in my best interest. I mean, I just told him, I don't trust you. I'm not telling you. And he's like, well, why? I think it's good for this and that and that. And I'm like, nope, I disagree, sorry. So we went to court like that. And then by the end, I boom on Takashi for the first time ever in this hearing. She heard me do it in other ones, but now I'm doing it in this one. Boom, I lay it out. You don't have evidence of jurisdiction. And what does Demir Kuliev do? He jumps the hell up. This is toward the end of the hearing. And asks to be removed from the case. No talking about this with me whatsoever. On the spot, after I asked, does the prosecutor have evidence of jurisdiction, he jumps up and wants off the case. And at that moment, I was just like, this guy's a piece. You know? Until he quits, he's a piece of shit. You know what's a real shame? Demir's a really smart guy. And he'd be cool as fuck if he wasn't a lawyer. I really think that. He loves Hawaii. He likes to go out and have fun, ride bikes and shit. I'm down. He'd be cool as fuck if he wasn't a lawyer. If it wasn't the pressure to, you know, make a ton of money in this crooked way. You know, he's got to go on vacations to the Far East and do his Thai stuff and his Eastern meditation, religion stuff, just so he can cleanse himself from all this bullshit. If you go to his Facebook page, it's hilarious. He'll even say stuff like that. Like, you know, just zenning out from all the bullshit. It's hilarious. He probably doesn't think I notice all this shit, but when you spend, you know, 8-10 months and you get as dedicated as I do, you do get into the nooks and crannies. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to ruin the guy. I'm trying to let him know that he needs to pick another career field. Because this one is going nowhere. It's a dead end. But he won't. He's probably got student loans, and what else is he going to do to make a living? All he knows how to do is hustle people in court. It's the same problem with all the bureaucrats, right? Still in the middle of this thing. I wonder how long this file's going to be.
I'm not willing to go forward with the hearing unless Mr. Kuliev is present.
So I'm like, what? And she goes, I'm not willing to go forward unless Mr. Kuliev is present. And at this moment, I'm going, you dirty. I'm going to let you in on my thoughts here, obviously. You dirty. This is dirty, dirty, dirty. You're trying, here's their reason this time to get the extension. 6th, 7th time in a row, right? And they're using because Demir didn't show up. And so I'm like, oh, hell no. And here's what I say. I said, oh, well, then he's fired effective immediately.
I don't need him. In fact, he hasn't been helping me for months and months.
I don't need him. In fact, he hasn't been helping me for months and months.
Never hear from him ever.
And I never hear from him ever.
So it's no different. If he's here or not, he's not.
So it wouldn't make a difference if he's here or not.
He's not going to say anything to me afterwards. Honestly, he's not talked to me. I haven't called him. He won't.
Honestly, he hasn't talked to me. I can't call him, or he won't
He
call
wouldn't
me.
allow me to call him. He wouldn't allow me to meet with him.
He wouldn't allow me to call him. He wouldn't allow me to meet with
He'd
him.
only communicate with me with email, and that was all.
He'd only communicate with me with email, and that's it. And now the judge jumps in.